Well, boys and girls, Velma is the most insulting show there is or was ever made. It's actually really hard to talk about this because it's almost like being in a swamp of shit and you're in the middle and you're like, okay, which way do I start walking in the hope of getting out? That's what it feels like talking about this. It's so terrible and it's so cringy and it's so offensive on so many levels. Okay, I'm just gonna get into it and then see where we end up, okay? So, Velma, of course the main character of the show, titled after her, is the most judgmental, rude, annoying, bitchy character that was ever written in animation history, okay? In fact, I'll bet you that if you watch Velma for yourself, your most disliked character that ever existed will become they are actually not that bad compared to this fucking judgmental piece of shit, right? Velma is a character who comments on people's skin colors, judges people depending on their occupation, and makes small dick jokes constantly. Now, of course, Velma went through a bit of a transition. She is now Indian, which honestly I don't really have a problem with. It would have been, of course, nice to see the authentic characters that I grew up on, but listen, I understand it's 2023. Cool, okay, as long as you tell me a fun, engaging story with quirky personalities and interesting new ways of telling a modern story, I'm all up for it, right? Well, unfortunately, none of that happened, boys and girls. What we got instead is, if you go on YouTube and you type in the worst feminist encounters, and you know those people who scream at the camera and they say things without sense or logic, they just put words together and then they say it with a very angry face, and at the end of every sentence they have to say, oh, and by the way, we don't need men, right? Imagine 20 of those put together at a round table, unsupervised, and they were like, okay, write the next show. There you go, pen and paper. And then everyone fucks off and leaves them together for a week, okay? It's like, how can we make Velma become the new cool? Well, well, actually, we can have her judge everyone based on their jobs, right? We can have her be openly racist towards Fred, okay? We can have her accuse Fred of killing someone because he has a small dick. I'm not even joking with you. That is a plot line. Velma accuses Fred for killing someone for having a small penis. Have that go through your head for a second, okay? And then in court, when she actually says, okay, well, actually, maybe Fred didn't kill, she then continues to completely insult him in every way imaginable, right? In front of the court, while, of course, people of color behind him are laughing at the only at the only main white character there is, right? Now, of course, I don't want to go into that whole white bashing. I don't really care. In fact, I'm okay with it. As long as there is actual fun and entertainment in there, I'm okay with it. There's Django Unchained. A black people killed like 50 white guys. Do you know what? I fucking had fun. Why? Because Quentin Tarantino's writing was mwah. And Jamie Foxx delivered it so well. My problem isn't putting Fred as a white character into really stupid situations. My problem is that there was absolutely no need to do that, and therefore it's not funny, it's only offensive and cringy, and that's what this show is about. And bear in mind, this is not only happening to Fred, okay? Velma and Daphne, at one point, they have this huge fight. In fact, they almost want to kill each other, right? And then in the next episode, they start making out. Because, of course, that's how being gay works. It's just so offensive on so many levels. And I was really waiting for some story to develop or for some sort of comedy to start. And the comedy in this show is literally just comparing the scenes that they are in to other films that exist. It's kind of like what Spider-Man did in Marvel, which was already kind of cringy, except here they do it like 300 fucking times. It's like at this one scene they were like they wanted to make out, right? Bear in mind they are like 14 or 15, yeah, so now we're sexualizing teenagers also, just putting that out there. So we've got these 14 or 15-year-old being like, oh my god, well, it kind of feels like this is like a rom-com movie, because if it was, then we would totally make out, but this isn't really a rom-com movie, so we maybe shouldn't make out. But if this was a rom-com movie, we would definitely make out this scene, but I don't know if we should, because obviously this is not. It's just so mind-numbing, and this is consistent. This is not one-off fucking stupid joke, it's consistent. There's another scene when they go into this haunted house or whatever, and then, well, it's not haunted, but this really creepy area, and then Velma's like, I remember watching a film that kind of said that they were the killer, and if this was that film, then I would say it's you, but this isn't that film, so I don't know if it's you, but you're definitely a suspect, because in that film I saw, and you know what I mean, it was like, oh my god. Of course, there's Norville, who is supposed to be Shaggy, confesses his love to Velma. I'm not even sure if she's supposed to be full gay or bisexual or whatever. But anyway, once Norville sort of explains his feelings towards her, she then proceeds to laugh in his face, completely being rude and disrespectful, being like, "Oh, you're just a small-time comedian, a failed comedian. In fact, in what world can you imagine that I would even like you?" She is literally one of the most despicable characters ever written, and I'm not too sure what the character arc is supposed to be here. But even if she finds redemption somehow, she'll still not be a character that people will remember as one of those, oh, that was kind of cool. It honestly feels like this whole thing was just a vanity project for social activism, right? It feels like, as I said, all these extreme not even woke, but these extreme leftists coming together, writing a script that has no other purpose but to say, fuck you everyone, we are powerful colored women, and basically we hate everyone because we are so good that you cannot even reach our expectation. That's what it feels like. Not to mention the fact that if Velma was changed to be Indian for a specific reason, maybe they wanted to bring that history or that culture into it, I would be like, okay, cool, that makes sense. Okay, let's explore that side. But it isn't. Velma could have easily been a very controversial white character, a controversial black character. There was no reason for her to be Indian. So the fact is, boys and girls, and please, Asians, Indians, black people, if you're watching this, right, you should be fucking fuming. Because if you think this is modern progression in the woke society, is this how you want to be represented by the media? An Indian girl who is basically just fucking a bitch to everyone, a black guy who gets completely rejected and insulted, a white person who obviously has small dick and gets wrongfully accused of murder, right, for having a small penis, and then Daphne, who only exists to be Velma's love triangle. Is this how you want to be represented? Because I think it's rather insulting to every fucking one, and I honestly don't know what HBO was trying to do with this show. Now, obviously, HBO was very, very fucking proud to announce that Velma was premiering with the highest numbers, but it's quite funny how HBO in the past 6 months has deleted and cancelled every other animation they had, which actually brought its own controversy with fans who were actually loving those. So having this announced after fucking taking all of the other animations off your fucking platform is not a big deal. There's no comparison to compare it to. It's kind of like if I went to the moon and I said I was the funniest guy of all, and then it's like, yeah, of course you are, because who the fuck else there is there to compare it to? And also, who the fuck are you telling those jokes to? And also, who the fuck is laughing at your jokes? No one. But at the end of the day, statistically, yeah, maybe you are, but that's only because there's no other competition. It's just so stupid. So yeah, I'm a bit concerned about what 2023 will bring to us in terms of media and films and shows, because after watching The Witcher Blood Origins, which again was more of a social activist statement rather than writing an actual entertaining script and a fun, engaging story that actually makes sense in the lore of The Witcher. And then now we get Velma, which once again is more of a social statement, a woke statement, rather than being an entertaining show. I am starting to see a pattern, and I'm really hoping that this pattern will be short-lived. I'm really hoping that all the hate that this show gets makes people realize that if you want to introduce diverse characters, if you want to introduce LGBTQ characters, that's fine, but make them relevant. Don't just put them in there to fucking, tick your boxes. That's not how social progression works. You can't just put people in there, tick it out, and be like, oh, we've got a black character, oh, we've got an Asian character, oh, we're so fucking 2023. No, that's not how that works. All you're gonna get is hate, because we see through that shit. You know, write a compelling story, write a compelling character arc for all of those individual characters, and then put them in, and guess what? We'll fucking love it. Anyway, boys and girls, thanks so much for watching. Like the video if you did, and subscribe to the channel for more awesome videos in the future. Thanks again for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.